Hi everyone, my name's Sarah and I'm a meetings ranger here at Microsoft, and I'm keen to show you, as part of the Easter egg hunt series that's going on at the moment, how some key applications can now be available as part of the meetings experience in Teams. Today's focus is going to be on the approvals application. Now, approvals is something that helps you centralize all of the different approvals that take place within your work. Now, approvals are accessible, just generally speaking, within the Teams environment, and you are able to access it by going down to the ellipsis on the left-hand side rail of your Teams application and coming over and looking at the search functionality. If you type in approvals, that will help load up the approvals tab and show you any requests and history of approvals that you might have sent. If you're brand new to approvals, this might just be empty, but you can get started right away within this view by clicking on New Approval Request. That will allow you to send anything to your colleagues that you need to have formal feedback or track an approval or comment on. You can also do the same approvals process through a chat message, and you can also have it accessible through a channel. It'll be similar to what we showcased today from a meetings perspective. So I've scheduled a meeting for early next week. I'm Megan Bowen in this situation, and we've got a session set up on Monday with my colleague Nesta to review the Northwind proposal. So in advance of that session, I'm keen to find out whether the proposal that's been provided by Northwind is suitable or whether we need more feedback before the session takes place on Monday. So what I'm going to do is open up the meeting and come across and activate the chat before the session takes place, and I'm going to kick off an approvals process within that chat experience. So if I come into the chat and come down to the bottom, below the message bar, I've got a whole bunch of different options of how I can interact with my colleague Nesta within the chat. One of those is approvals. Now, if you don't see it sitting there waiting for you, again, you can come to the ellipses and click on the search bar and you can type in approvals. What that's going to do is it'll bring you up an embedded version of the approvals application into the Teams meeting experience, meaning that you're able to house the documentation, the feedback, and any decisions that are made all within the meeting before the meeting's even started. And that's going to help you have a little bit more of a concentrated conversation when it comes to the session on Monday. So I'm just going to call it proposal review. Nesta knows that we're in there talking about the Northwind proposal because that's the meeting title. I'm going to type his name in. That's linked to your directory of your organization. So anybody that you have in your organization, you'll be able to search and find and enter their names in here. You can enter multiple people if you like, but just remember, if you do, tick box require a response from all approvers. Any additional details that you need to put, you can just type into the box here. And that way I can include as much information or as little information as I want. Now, if I wanted to include an attachment, I can go in and provide an attachment for Nesta, and that way I can upload it and he's got all of the information that he needs right at hand. So I'm going to make sure that that's available. I could link in a OneDrive link or a SharePoint link, but because this was an external presentation I received in my email, I'm going to include the attachment. Now I can choose what responses I want Nesta to be able to have. So I can click custom response and I can say, I can type in what responses Nesta can have. So I can say, let's discuss, or I can say, proceed. Okay, and that's going to allow him to have a bit of a tick box option when he receives that approval request. So once I click send, because it's the first time I'm using approvals within that meeting, it's going to need just a little bit of a click to admit the approvals application to be present within the session. And once I click continue, it'll load up this specific approval that we have just created. So you can see that it's going there. It has requested across to Nesta himself. So we can then see that there's a little contact card available, and this is what Nesta will see on his side as well. So he'll get a notification, just like we did from our activity bar, about a proposal being sent. So we can see there that that's the same kind of notification that Nesta's going to receive. And if we wanted to come back and see the status of what he is doing, or if he is feeding back to it, we can come back into the chat because it's been activated within the meetings context. So Nest has now responded, and that should pop through any second. And he has allowed us to proceed with the current format of the presentation. So we'll meet on Monday and be able to talk that through. Okay, so that's all trackable within the meeting. As the meeting kicks off on Monday morning, I can come through and click join. That'll allow me to come into the meeting experience with Nesta. We'll have the attachment of the document here with any feedback that Nesta might want to include within the chat context here as well. We could obviously do this conversation through email, but it really fractures it and takes it away from the meeting's experience. Whereas having the approvals process right here in the meeting means that all decisions are tracked, all conversational elements are tracked, and the document itself is embedded within that experience, making the Monday morning session much more streamlined. Now, again, if I wanted to come back and have a look at approvals, and if I think that that's a really valuable application for me moving forward, I can right click on it and I can choose to pin it to my side rail as well. So I don't have to continue searching for it. So that's the approvals application in Teams. There's many different purposes of how you can use that, but I hope it's a nice little tip for how you can get started around your Easter holidays by streamlining your approvals. Check out the other links in this series to find out some key other applications that might help save you some time. Happy Easter, everybody.